If you are tired of being broke, tired of watching others win, tired of living beneath your potential, then stop hoping and start listening. You are not cursed. You are not unlucky. You are simply untrained. And this is the instruction you've been denied. What you are about to hear is not motivation, it is law. The law by which 500 men built fortunes. The law by which you will too, if you listen, decide, and obey. Do not drift. This is the turning point. If you are poor in thought, you will remain poor in circumstance. That is not a criticism. It is a law. Wealth does not begin with coins, nor with salary, nor with the permission of any man. It begins with the most potent tool ever placed in your possession, your mind. And if you have not yet commanded it with precision, discipline, and definiteness, then you are living far below your rightful power. The greatest lie the world has told you is this, that wealth is a matter of luck, of birth, of chance, or of favor. I tell you now with the certainty of law, that is false. Riches are not a reward, they are a consequence. They are the natural outgrowth of obedience to specific principles, all of which can be learned, understood, practiced, and applied by any man of sound body and willing mind. They do not belong to the chosen few. They belong to the disciplined few. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men who ever lived, once told me, all great fortunes are first created in the blueprint of the mind. He did not say in the factory. He did not say in the stock market. He said in the mind. And that blueprint, my friend, begins not with resources, but with rules, with principles, with laws. Now listen closely. You have likely heard pieces of this truth scattered in speeches, books, and idle conversation. You've heard words like desire, faith, purpose, perhaps even persistence. But what you have not heard, what almost no man ever hears, is the full exact structure, not fragments, the entire code. And that is what you are about to receive here. This message is not for the drifter. It is not for the dreamer who refuses to act. It is not for the man who hopes without work or wishes without will. This is for the builder, the man who has decided that his time has come, the one who is willing to put aside all opinion, all confusion, all contradiction, and learn the laws that produced more than 500 millionaires whose stories I personally studied, tested, and examined over 25 years. Let me be direct. There are 13 principles, not 12, not 21, not 97, 13. And they work together like gears in a great engine, each one powering the others. If one is missing, the machine is incomplete. But when all 13 are present, aligned, and practiced with faith, the result is inevitable. Riches, in exact proportion to your belief, your action, and your definiteness. These principles are not philosophy. They are not positive thinking. They are not motivational material. They are spiritual laws that govern every successful fortune ever built, from Ford to Edison, from Rockefeller to Schwab, from Carnegie to Lincoln. They apply to every man, regardless of race, background, or education. They apply now as they did a century ago, and they will apply long after you and I are gone. But they require something modern men avoid, obedience. You cannot drift through these principles and expect wealth. You cannot pick the ones you like and ignore the rest. You cannot hear them once and expect transformation. No, you must study them. You must apply them. You must repeat them until they become part of your very nature. Each principle will be taught to you in depth, with story, with instruction, with law. You will hear of the men who applied them. You will see the path they followed. You will learn the traps they avoided. And most importantly, you will be challenged to do the same. Let me be even more clear. This is not entertainment. This is transformation. If you listen like a child listening to bedtime tales, you will remain where you are. But if you listen like a commander receiving orders from the battlefield of life, then you will change, not in weeks, not in months, immediately, but only if you do not drift. The drifter listens with half an ear, makes no decision, speaks in vague terms, and acts when he feels ready. He waits for signs, for agreement, for comfort, and because of this he receives nothing. The definite man listens with fire. He writes down what he hears. He speaks aloud what he believes. He acts with speed. He holds his aim so vividly that nothing can distract him. And because of this, he receives everything. Now I ask you, which one will you be? I do not speak to your circumstances. I do not care if you are in debt, unemployed, doubted, or defeated. That is irrelevant, because if your mind can be rebuilt, then your world must follow. And your mind will be rebuilt if you walk through these 13 laws with obedience, with discipline, and with absolute belief. Let us now make a declaration. Speak it aloud. Declare it as the first act of your new life. I am not here to wish. I am here to learn the laws. I will think. I will act. I will become. Again, I am not here to wish. I am here to learn the laws. I will think. I will act. I will become. This is the doorway. Step through it with courage. What lies beyond is the structure of wealth, the fortune already inside you, waiting to be demanded. All achievement, all progress, all wealth, whether of the spirit or of the purse, begins with one invisible element: desire. Not a wish, not a daydream, not a vague hope that passes with the next disappointment, but a desire so white-hot that it dominates the mind, consumes the heart, and sets the entire soul ablaze with pursuit. Weak desires bring weak results, for they are easily broken. But burning desire, unshakable, unquestioning, unstoppable, is the seed of every fortune. Let me speak to you plainly. If you are not yet rich, it is not because life has denied you. It is because you have not yet demanded. And the world, like a mighty servant, does not respond to polite asking. It responds only to definite, burning demand backed by decision, persistence, and action. I give you now the story of Edwin C. Barnes, not as inspiration, but as blueprint. This man, poor in pocket, rich in desire, made up his mind that he would become the business partner of Thomas Edison. Not a servant, not a clerk, not an employee, a partner. That is the size of his desire. He had no money to buy a train ticket. He hitched rides. He arrived in rags. But when he entered Edison's laboratory and made his declaration, it was not his clothing that Edison saw, it was his fire, and that fire could not be ignored. Barnes did not achieve his goal in a day. It took years. He swept floors. He waited. He watched. But his desire did not fade. It intensified. And when the opportunity came, when Edison needed a man to sell a new invention, Barnes stepped forward. He was not the only one qualified, but he was the only one obsessed. And that obsession became his fortune. He became Edison's partner, just as he said he would. Now let us be clear. Barnes succeeded not because he had resources. He had none. He succeeded because he had one thing most men never possess: a definite chief aim backed by a burning desire. That is the starting point of all riches. Without it, the rest of this speech will be useless to you. With it, everything you now lack will begin to move toward you. But desire alone is not enough. It must be organized, intensified, and translated into action. I will now give you 6 exact steps. Memorize them, write them, repeat them, for they are the method by which you will transmute desire into its financial equivalent. They are the same steps followed by every man who has built great wealth. The 6 steps to transmute desire into gold. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Do not say, "I want plenty of money." Say exactly how much. Clarity is power. Determine what you will give in return for the money you desire. There is no such thing as something for nothing. What service, product, or value will you provide? Establish a definite date by which you intend to possess the money. A dream with no date is a deception. Create a definite plan and begin at once. Whether you are ready or not, begin. Action breeds faith. Delay breeds doubt. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount, the time limit, what you will give, and the plan. Read your written statement aloud twice daily, once upon rising, once before sleep. As you read, see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. These steps are not theory. They are law. They are the mental machinery of riches. If you obey them, riches must appear. If you ignore them, you may live another 20 years and remain in the same condition as you are today. Let me tell you what happens when you repeat your aim daily with emotion. Your subconscious mind, which is the gateway to infinite intelligence, begins to accept the picture you give it. The mind, once saturated with belief, will organize circumstances, ideas, and opportunities to bring that image to life, not by magic, by law. You will attract men, you will perceive ideas, you will see doors where before you saw walls. This is not fiction. This is the pattern by which Ford, Carnegie, Rockefeller, and every other titan you admire walked into wealth. But take warning. If your desire is weak, if you say your goal aloud and feel nothing, if you skip days, if you doubt as you speak, you are planting weeds in your mind. And weeds choke wealth. You must repeat until it burns, until your heart races, until you speak with tears in your eyes because you already see yourself living it. That is how desire becomes demand. There is a secret hidden here. Most men say, I will try. That man is defeated already. The man who becomes rich says, I will. Not if, not maybe, but I will. That level of decision, backed by desire, backed by repetition, backed by action, backed by faith, that is unshakable, and the universe must yield to it. Let me give you an example from the railroads. There was a man who wanted to become wealthy selling freight cars. Others had the same idea, but he did one thing differently. He wrote down his exact target. He read it every day. He visualized it. He told no one, but repeated it faithfully. And while others drifted, he moved. While others doubted, he sold. While others hesitated, he made bold asks. Within 3 years, he had not only surpassed his target, but he had been invited to invest in the very company he once sold for. That is the power of desire transmuted into action. Now let me speak to your doubt. You may say, I've tried before. I've written goals. I've repeated them. I ask you, did you feel them? Did you act immediately? Did you read them twice daily for 30 days without missing? Did you burn all other bridges like Barnes did? If not, you have not truly desired. You have merely entertained a thought. Desire must rule your calendar, rule your language, rule your thoughts. It must become so definite that every other thought, every lesser aim, withers in comparison. And if you are willing to speak your desire with full faith daily and move toward it with boldness, then I say again with certainty, it must be yours. Let us now return to the steps. Do not wait another hour. Write them now. Speak them aloud. And as you do, let the old version of you, hesitant, vague, uncertain, be burned behind you. You are no longer dabbling. You are demanding. Say this now aloud. Let your voice shake if it must. Let your heart race if it will. But say it like a man who is done playing small. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I burn all bridges behind me. I desire and I obey that desire with action. Repeat it. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I burn all bridges behind me. I desire and I obey that desire with action. Now write, then act. Faith is not a wish. Faith is not hope. Faith is not mere optimism. Faith is a state of mind, and like all states of mind, it is built, it is forged, it is created by repetition, choice, and emotion until it becomes your natural response to life. If you do not yet possess faith, do not despair. It can be developed, but you must begin now, and you must obey the process by which belief becomes unshakable. Faith is the medium by which desire is translated into its physical equivalent. Every dollar ever earned, every invention ever brought into being, every business ever created was first believed into existence. And if you would attract riches into your life, you must first believe that riches belong to you, that you are capable of serving for them, and that the means will be shown to you once your belief is established. Let me be plain. You cannot beg life to make you rich while you speak like a pauper, walk like a beggar, and think like a victim. The riches of life belong to the man who claims them, not with arrogance, but with inner certainty. And that certainty is built by feeding the subconscious mind the right thoughts over and over again, with emotion, until it begins to operate with faith instead of fear. You do not wait to feel faith, you build it. You do not wait until your environment is perfect. You speak it aloud now. You do not seek approval from others. You impress your mind with your own authority. Let me now give you an example. Henry Ford was mocked when he began speaking of an automobile that would replace the horse. The press ridiculed him. The financiers called him insane. But he held to one belief, that the people would own a car, that he would build it, that he would find the way. And because he believed and acted, his mind called forth the means. He faced setbacks, mechanical failures, betrayal, but he did not waver. That is faith. It is not passive. It is not a soft emotion. It is a steel will that refuses to surrender to appearances. You must understand the subconscious mind. It does not reason. It does not analyze. It accepts whatever is repeated to it with emotion. If you say you are weak, you are. If you say you are lost, you will remain so. If you say you are building a fortune, you have begun. This is why most men fail. They speak of lack, they complain of hardship, and they rehearse their misery. Their subconscious accepts that instruction, and life follows. But you, if you are ready, must now reverse this process. You must become the commander of your own belief. And belief is built by autosuggestion, the repeated speaking of truth with emotional intensity until the mind accepts it. Each morning and night you must speak your definite chief aim aloud, not as wish, not as fantasy, but as law. You must speak your identity. You must repeat the wealth you are building. You must train your emotions to feel what it will be like when the riches are yours, now, before they are seen. This is not deception. This is law. Here is how you do it. I give you this exercise now. Obey it exactly. Stand tall, shoulders back, voice steady, and speak aloud. I believe I'm destined for wealth. I believe riches belong to me because I serve value. I am building a fortune in my mind. Say it again. I believe I am destined for wealth. I believe riches belong to me because I serve value. I am building a fortune in my mind. Now write it. Post it where your eyes will see it. Speak it again tonight. Speak it again tomorrow morning. Speak it especially when you feel fear, hesitation, or failure creeping in. Faith is not automatic. It must be fed, and you must become the one who feeds it. Let me now share with you the law behind this method. Whatever is impressed upon the subconscious mind with emotion and repetition becomes accepted as reality. The subconscious then works constantly, day and night, to bring that belief into form. It will alert you to opportunities. It will shift your habits. It will attract people. It will influence your decisions. This is not magic. It is machinery. You must become the engineer of your belief system, the architect of your faith. And that begins not with emotion, but with decision. You decide to believe. Then you speak it. Then you repeat it. Then you act as though it is true. And soon it becomes so. This is how faith is built, not in churches, not in theory, but in your daily discipline. Speak it, see it, act it. And when doubts arise, as they surely will, you out-voice them, you out-act them, you out-persist them. That is how faith conquers fear. The man who becomes rich is not the man who feels faith. It is the man who builds it deliberately by law. Now let me speak of action. It is not enough to repeat your aim. You must move toward it daily. Faith without action is fantasy. Every day you must take one step toward your definite aim, no matter how small. That action, joined with belief, is what creates momentum. And momentum is what separates the rich from the rest. Let me remind you of this truth. Faith is the eternal elixir of power. When joined with burning desire, it is unstoppable. When spoken with conviction, it is creative. When backed with action, it is miraculous. You may ask, what if I do not believe these words yet? Then say them anyway. Say them until your subconscious does. Say them until your actions align. Say them until life has no choice but to respond, because it will. Let us end this part with one final declaration. Say it now. Not weakly, not timidly. Say it like your very destiny depends on it. I believe I am destined for wealth. I believe riches belong to me because I serve value. I am building a fortune in my mind. Again, I believe I am destined for wealth. I believe riches belong to me because I serve value. I am building a fortune in my mind. This is the seed. Protect it, water it, feed it, because soon you will reap it. There is a silent force working inside every man, a force that never sleeps, never questions, and never hesitates. It is always recording, always shaping, always responding. That force is your subconscious mind, and the only way to control that force is through the principle of autosuggestion, the deliberate repetition of thought, spoken aloud and backed by emotion until it becomes belief. You become what you repeat. This is not merely a statement, it is the law. If you say, I am tired, your body responds. If you say, I cannot, your will dissolves. If you say, I am building wealth, your faculties begin to shift and your behavior obeys. The subconscious mind does not filter truth from falsehood. It accepts whatever is repeated, especially when said with emotion and conviction. If you do not command your mind, the world will do it for you. It will feed you defeat. It will offer you excuses. It will whisper fear, doubt, confusion, and hesitation. You must now become the master of your inner dialogue, the author of your identity, the voice that drowns out all contradiction. This is the purpose of autosuggestion, to install truth deliberately, to implant desire deeply, to train your inner voice until it obeys your vision instead of your circumstances. Let me be direct. Every man who fails at building wealth fails at controlling his own suggestion. He allows the opinions of others, the troubles of the day, and the moods of the moment to dictate his inner speech. And by repeating these lesser ideas, he becomes a lesser man. But you, if you will discipline your speech, can rewire your entire emotional structure. Not with force, not with willpower, but with consistency. Morning and night are your golden hours, before the noise of the world enters, before doubt can creep in, before sleep carries your last thoughts into the night. These are the two moments you must seize with absolute purpose. You must speak your definite chief aim aloud. You must do so with emotion, not as a recital, not as a chore, but as the declaration of a builder claiming his design. Stand up when you speak it, look yourself in the mirror, breathe deeply, and speak like a man who has already received it. Not, I will be rich someday. Number say, I am building wealth now. I am creating value. I see riches flowing to me because I serve with clarity and confidence. Say it until your heart believes it, until your body straightens, until your voice deepens. That is how autosuggestion begins to influence the subconscious. Let me give you an example. A salesman I once worked with had never broken past mediocrity, not because he lacked skill, but because he feared rejection. Each morning he told himself, I'm not good at this. Each evening he would say, they won't buy from me. He did not realize he was training his mind to fail. Once he understood this law, I told him, for the next 30 days, speak this every morning and night. I am the greatest salesman in this city. My clients are drawn to my belief. I sell because I serve. He laughed at first, but he obeyed. He said it in his car. He said it before appointments. He said it even when it felt false. And slowly, his voice changed. His manner changed. His posture changed. And within weeks, his numbers changed. Not because the market changed, not because the world changed, but because his belief changed. This is the power you now hold. And if you think the affirmations in these speeches sound similar, you are correct. That is by design. Repetition is the mother of mastery, and repeated thought becomes habitual thought. If you say something once, the subconscious does not move, but if you say it 100 times with feeling, it becomes part of you. Let me speak to your pride. Some of you may resist this process. You may say, I feel silly speaking to myself aloud. Then I say to you, how silly is it to live in failure while the code to freedom sits unspoken in your throat? The greatest men in history, Carnegie, Edison, Rockefeller, Ford, spoke their aims aloud daily, not once, not sometimes, daily. You must now create your ritual. Morning, wake, speak your aim, say your affirmation. Night, before bed, repeat the same. Do this for 30 days. Do not miss. Do not waver. Do not question the results before the seed has taken root. Speak, believe, then act. Let us now speak together. Say this with me aloud. Do not whisper. Speak with power. My thoughts are under control. My mouth speaks only what I want to experience. I repeat wealth, and wealth repeats me. Again, my thoughts are under control. My mouth speaks only what I want to experience. I repeat wealth, and wealth repeats me. Let it sink in. Let it rise up in you. Let it become your new rhythm. And when the old thoughts come, the doubt, the fear, the shame, you will answer them not with emotion, but with suggestion. You will speak what you believe until you believe what you speak. This is how riches are built invisibly before they are seen externally. A man is not made wealthy by coins. He is made wealthy by belief, made permanent through repetition. And so I leave you with one last reminder. The man who masters autosuggestion becomes the architect of his destiny. The man who neglects it becomes the servant of whatever noise surrounds him. Which one will you be? If knowledge were power, every librarian would be a millionaire. But knowledge by itself is not power. Only specialized knowledge, applied with purpose, becomes power that pays. You may read 1,000 books, quote 1,000 authors, and still die broke, unless you learn to convert that knowledge into definite, organized, and persistent service. Most men are taught to worship education in its general form, but general knowledge produces general results. It fills the mind with facts, but fails to direct the hand toward fortune. Wealth does not respond to the man who knows everything about everything. It responds to the man who knows one thing exceptionally well and knows how to trade that knowledge for riches through organized effort. I must say this plainly. Specialized knowledge plus imagination plus organized planning equals wealth. That is the true equation. And it is your responsibility to master it, not in theory, but in practice. Consider John D. Rockefeller, not a man who memorized encyclopedias, but a man who understood the movement of oil, the structure of distribution, and the timing of markets. He hired men who knew more than he did in chemistry and shipping and finance, but it was he who applied their knowledge through a single, definite purpose. That is what made him wealthy. So I ask you now, what problem do you solve? What human need can you address with your skill, your insight, your training? For whom do you solve it? And how often can you repeat this solution with speed, with precision, with value? If you do not yet know, your first assignment is to find out. Because wealth comes not to the man who is merely educated, but to the man who knows where his knowledge applies, how it serves, and how to organize others around it. And let me give you the formula. Take this down. Let it not be forgotten. 5 steps to turn specialized knowledge into power that pays. Identify the problem you are most capable of solving. Not every problem. One problem. One that real men and women experience daily. Study that problem deliberately. Read with purpose. Interview others in the field. Observe what works. Organize what you learn. Develop a service, product, or strategy to solve it. Simplicity is key. Let it be repeatable. Let it be needed. Let it be valuable. Deliver that solution with excellence. Whether as employee, entrepreneur, partner, or leader, do not dabble. Dominate that lane. Scale through planning and assistance. No great fortune was built alone. Create systems. Involve others. Multiply your reach. You do not need to know everything, but you must know something so well that people are willing to pay you, promote you, or partner with you. This is what separates the man of wealth from the man of wishes. One builds a fortress of focused ability. The other wanders the fields of vague curiosity. Let me speak to your habits now. Some of you read without purpose. You study like a man gathering wood but never lighting fire. That must end today. From now on, every book, every article, every conversation must serve your aim. Say aloud before you open a book. I read to earn, I study to apply, I learn to serve with power. Because the man who reads with no purpose weakens his attention. But the man who reads with a definite objective sharpens his mind into a blade. And wealth is earned not by the dull, but by the deliberate. Now you may say, but I don't know what specialized knowledge to pursue. Then I tell you this, begin where you are. What skill do you have? What knowledge do you already possess? What do others come to you for? What topic quickens your spirit?